perceive the world. From that perspective, I would say there's a problem of communicating values and belief systems, and to imagine how we could work in the future on this planet. I think there's no architect who can do it. It needs to be the citizens in a particular location who need to do it, and they need to be the architects in a broader sense. Architecture understood in a broader sense. But I would say the people in this or that location needs to understand themselves that they are, again, in a broader sense, the architects of the environment. So it's basically about community organizing, or that people organize themselves with the help of maybe some professionals as a community. Along the means of urban commons, people should understand that they are basically the producers and reproducers of space, and reach out to legal and financial forms which guarantee themselves to have the right to the city. An architect in the traditional sense, how architects are educated today, they can only be part of the game. The architects need to decide if they are rather a technician or rather a designer. They can also be a social facilitator, but then they're not architects anymore. Then architects need to learn other skills. I mean, if you learn community organizing, then you need to understand how to organize social processes. If you decide to be rather a technician, then it might be rather about learning about techniques of engineering or construction which are open to include self-built practices. And if the architect would understand him or herself rather as a co-developer, then he or she would need to learn the skills in terms of socially just economics and according kind of legal systems. I'm helping to get people together from, let's say, the field of activist architecture, but also housing activists, people who are basically fighting for the right to the city in Berlin, and I'm trying to help them to get together more mutually and more frequently, to have a more sophisticated and effective conversation in the framework or on the backdrop of the new government which we have, where there are some people who are within government who are opening up to the notion of municipalism, for example. So like the new municipalism which we can see in Spain is now becoming part of the conversation also over here. How we can basically have a more productive or a really productive, a seriously productive collaboration with politics and administration in a more horizontal way. And what I'm doing more concretely is I'm organizing a couple of, or helping to organize a couple of events. There's the Experiment Days, which is a get-together of initiatives and projects one time a year. This is like for a long weekend, sometimes even for a week. How can we do things more productively in Berlin as activists, architects, artists, and so on. And then we are working together with the Vienna magazine Deriv and the festival they invented a couple of years ago, which is called Urbanize. And they're doing it in Vienna, but they also did it in Hamburg last year, and this year they also want to do it in Berlin, and I'm coordinating. It's a 10-day festival, which now a big group of different kinds of activists is organizing or conceptualizing and then doing in autumn. And one of the main topics in all those three events, like in the Experiment Days and in Urbanize, is municipalism and neighborhood planning and community land trusts. So I think the challenge, or one of the main questions then is, if you do that work, the right to the city work, who of the people who are doing it is best in working in terms of what concern? So I would understand myself, or I know in the meanwhile, that I'm very good on working on the local level, right? But there are other people within the framework which are much better to work internationally. There needs to be a constant dialogue between working on different, in different scales, so to say. Just to add that working locally, because I understand myself really as somebody who wants to change politics, working locally is for me the most rewarding way to work politically. Because I have, I need to be on the street, I need to be with the people, and I need to be able to meet politicians, I need to be able to know administrators. Basically, I need to have social interaction if I do political work.